Hi, thank you for joining me. Going to talk about the West Indies and Australia playing a series in about a week and a half's time. Just finished a one-day international series. We'll start out with the Australians. Famously beat India 4-0, a result that I didn't see coming. I did think Australia were probably slight favourites. I certainly didn't see 4-0 coming. And we'll get to the main reason why I think that was the case in a moment. We'll start out talking about the Australian batting card. Basically, it's probably as close to as one man a batting card as there currently is out there in Test cricket. Not necessarily the worst thing in the world when Michael Clarke is batting how he has been in his last 14 innings. He's averaging 81.92 in those 14 innings. He's got a 2.8 century rate, which is literally what Don Bradman had, to give you some idea. That includes a 329. That's the highest score outside of the famous batting pitch in St John's or Asia in 20 years since Graham Gooch in about 1991. Or 1990, sorry. So he's historically playing at a level far beyond whatever we've ever seen from Michael Clarke. Certainly, really boundary-orientated player at this stage, and he carved up South Africa, while Stein and Morkel and Philander, for that matter, I'll talk about him soon, have been carving everyone up. Australia lost 8 for 93 down one end, while Michael Clarke made 151. So he is as good a batsman in the world at the moment. I don't think it's in much doubt. But around that, well, the second best batsman is probably Shane Watson. Guy averages 38 in his career, so 2 centuries. So we're not exactly talking about a player with an amazing career. He's got his pluses, Shane Watson, but they're batting him at number 3. That means with him and Ricky Ponting at 3-4, you've got two players that have got 4 centuries in the last 119 innings before the India series. Yes, Ponting had a big India series, but that was coming off the back of 3 bad years. And considering his age and so on, the one-day form that followed it is far from a sure thing here. Watson's also coming off a back injury, so is Michael Clarke. The openers have less than 10 tests between them. Warner's had his moments, Cowan's had his moments, but this is a young opening pair that's normally a concern, even if they're going to be good getting started in Test cricket. Not a lot of depth now. Mitchell Johnson is out. They're probably going to bring in a new wicketkeeper. Michael Hussey is getting old as well. Just questions everywhere for this side. I think Watson at 3 is a big mistake. I think they need him as an old ball option at number 6, so bowling more than 10, 15 overs a match, more like 20, 25, 30 overs a match, because he's much better than Nathan Lyon as an old ball option. But bowling has not been Australia's problem. Australia's been bowling great. That was the main reason they won that India series, and they've been bowling tremendously. In their last 8 tests, their bowling average is 23.72. That's excellent. They have 7 sub-200 bowling innings out of 8 tests. So in the last 16 bowling innings, 7 sub-200. That's exceptional. There's another one that's 201, and that's powered entirely by their pace bowling. You have Pattinson, who's really debuted and really made a genuine mark. Excuse me. Darren, you have Ben Helfenhaus, who has come back really well. I was never a fan, but he bowled great against India. Genuine swing bowler, works better with the old ball than he used to. Could be a similar career arc to Jimmy Anderson, probably best case scenario, but did bowl really well, genuinely. Peter Siddle, always a really good old ball threat for a team that needs it. Bowls long spells, seam movement, hit stumps, surprisingly in large amount. Pattinson, if you haven't seen him yet, he's a real swing bowler with a really good bouncer as well, and bowls at brisk pace. There's potential there to add weapons as time goes by. Line and length still a iffy, but these guys are wicket-taking option, particularly against drivers. Those figures are great, and they're probably only going to get better with Pattinson being the spearhead, and they have depth behind that too, possibly Ben Cummings, and Mitchell Johnson's still waiting in the wings. Mitchell Stark is another project. Trent Copeland has great first-class numbers. Australia's fast bowling depth is really strong. A lot of teams can say that these days, but certainly that's going to power a presentable team. We put that with Michael Clarke, if he's fit, and this is the critical issue we'll come back to, then this Australian team can do a lot of damage against a lot of teams around the world. West Indies. Going on that, the big concern for the Windies here is their top order. Darren Bravo's been great. He's their sort of Michael Clarke. If Michael Clarke doesn't play in this series, then I think he pretty much will. But if he doesn't play the whole series, it's 3 tests. Darren Bravo becomes the best batsman in the series. He has a 37.5% score percentage, 8 century rate, 52.5 average. He has 17 sixes already in I think it's 16 tests. So the guy hits a boundary. He knows how to find boundaries. Really strong off the back foot. Good player of slow bowling. Yet to be tested against pace All of his Test matches are against Asian teams so far. Not necessarily the worst thing when you consider how Pakistan have played of late. But the concern here is that that pace attack I mentioned potentially could get on top of Bravo. He's still a young player, still developing. That 52.5 average probably has a few hits to go before it solidifies. But this guy is a genuine number 3 prospect. He is as exciting as any young player in the world at the moment. The battle between him and Pattinson will be quite fun for a perspective of looking into the future. But the West Indies' last 20 opening partnerships, looking at that fast bowler top order matchup, they've only got past 53 times in the last 20 efforts. Got single figures in 10, so half the time they walk out there, they're 1 for 9 or lower. They average 23.25, which isn't good, obviously. It's not terrible, but they're below that average all but 4 of those times, so 80% of the time they end up below the average. The second wicket isn't much better. That's when Darren Bravo comes in, but even so, the opener's also gone. That average is 27.5. It's gotten past 55 times, which is a little bit better. But 11 times they've been less than 40 when the second wicket's fallen. So only 8 out of the 40 times have they reached a 50-plus partnership in those. So if you combine the two partnerships, so they're weak up the top. I mean, their average, the score is more likely to be 2 for 39 than it is anything above that. It's not good. But I think it will be a series where we're not going to see a lot of runs. The West Indies, the sneaky little thing at the West Indies, they're actually bowled really well. Darren Sammy and Ravi Rampal have a 2.73 and 2.74 econ rates. Two of the best econ fast bowlers in world cricket. They will tie this batting card down. Someone like David Warner could struggle against a team with good discipline with Sammy and Rampal. Rampal is probably the most improved player in Test cricket. Averaged 25.03 last year. It's his genuine option there as a second pace bowler. Darren Sammy will surprise you, averaging less than 29. Been really solid as a third seamer. Kemar Roach, again, I know there's a lot of them out there, but one of the best young pace bowlers in the game today as well. The slow bowling effort will be interesting. Bishu is not really coming along that well. He averages 29.05 in first class cricket, averaging about 36 at Test level. Not that bad. Probably got more potential than Nathan Lyon does. Sunil Narayan, who we've seen in the one-day internationals, averages below 20 in every form of cricket he's played, which is 40 all matches combined. Now that's a real poo-poo platter of T20 and all that kind of stuff. There's an econ of 4.7 in T20. I never talk about it, and for good reason. I don't like it. But averaging 4.7 econ rate in T20 is pretty impressive, as far as it goes. And 3.52 on one-day internationals. This guys are hard to score off. There's a 2.2 econ rate in first-class cricket as well. 2 10-wicket matches in the 6 he's played at first-class level. 5.7 wickets a match at 11.88. Now look, this is all pretty small, pretty eclectic stats, but he's looked great in this series. Probably will be a great option. Problem is, he's contracted to T20, and he's in the IPL and not contracted to West Indies. Now, I hate the T20. It's normally my big rant thing, but this is not really that problem. The problem is the West Indian Cricket Board, which we know with Gale and so on and so on. But anyway, Bishu also has some potential. Hopefully we can see Narayan, cross fingers, but I'm not holding my breath for that. But he certainly, as a long-term prospect for the West Indies, he can put in that bowling attack. It's a pretty good bowling attack. So that's the West Indies in a quick little chat about them. This series, look, there's not going to be many runs scored in this series. So there's really 2 bats you can count on. Every one of the Australian teams either past it or not yet there, or injured, like Shane Watson, and not that great anyway. 2 centuries, 38 average, not that great. West Indies have the same problems. Openers are a big issue. Even as you go down the card, not that great. Got a bit more depth than Australia, but Michael Clarke is the series here. I'm going to presume he probably plays all 3 tests. He won't bowl at all, but that's not an issue. Nathan Lyon will be nice and hidden away in this series. There won't be a lot of runs. So I do think that a low-scoring series will make it nice and tight. West Indies have, I think, the better captain in Darren Sammy. They played a great close test match against India last year, which they nearly won and actually shouldn't have been in a position to win, but Darren Sammy pulled the right strings. Clarke and co lost a test match against New Zealand that was very close. I think you'll find at least one very tight test match here. And as I say, the scores will be low. I'll be surprised if we see more than one innings above 300. We'll see. But I'll be surprised. I think the bowling attacks will dominate. I do think Australia will win. I think we'll see results in all 3 games. I think it'll be closer than people think. This is a better West Indian side than most people think. And a side very much on the rise. Very young team. But at the moment, Australia, with that fast bowling attack, a little bit more seasoned, a little bit more purely threatening, probably will have the wickets in them. I think they'll win this series 2-1. But it should be a good, entertaining series, and I'm very keen to see these West Indian stars come through, and also some of the young Australian stars, the opening batsman and the opening bowler, possibly show a bit of development there too. It should be interesting.